Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name's Rebecca, I'm 45 years old and I used to suffer from multiple sclerosis, but I no longer experience any of the symptoms since starting the carnivore diet 2.5 years ago. In today's video, I wanted to discuss some of the things that have been going on in the past few weeks because it's been a bit of a watershed moment for me in my healing journey, and I just wanted to share some of that with you guys. So, you'll know from my last video that I had people come to stay for a couple of weeks, and those people happened to be vegetarian, and so just quite spontaneously, not having planned it in advance, I went vegetarian for a week or so. And so that's one thing I wanted to give you guys an update on. What impact has that had on me physically? So very quickly, just to say that although I had a pleasant week and I enjoyed the variety, it wasn't like mindless sugary stuff, you know, giving into temptation. It was simple vegetarian whole foods. So has that had a discernible impact on my physical state? I would say yes, in the way that I've been much more consistently hungry and more tired as well. And actually, I am on the tail end of a cold. I got a cold, so I don't know if that's because of the vegetarian diet, but I would say that, you know, it's kind of become clear to me that that isn't something, not that I was planning to go switch from carnivore anyway, it was just something that happened temporarily, but it did just kind of underline for me that I feel at my best physically when I'm on the carnivore diet, and I am still moving towards a homesteading lifestyle where I will be raising my own animals, but I might include in that vegetables grown in my own garden. So I might see a future where I'm keto rather than pure carnivore, but my week of being vegetarian just underlined to me that I need the nutritionally dense energy that animal products give me. So I feel stronger, I feel more energetic and less run down when I am eating a carnivore diet. So that's the first thing to say. That's how that one played out. But quite apart from diet, having these people to stay, and one in particular, one of these people, meant that I was having interesting conversations, and not even carnivore versus vegetarian conversations, but just I was getting to know these people, and one of them in particular, he I don't even know how to say this, it was like one night, okay, so basically one night he and I were up late on the terrace at my new homestead where I will be moving in the next few months, and he was basically just telling me what he thought of me, having known me for the previous 2 months. So, okay, so basically I met him a couple of months ago and he's been living with me for a couple of months. So I'm completely new to him, but also have been close enough to him for him to get a clear impression of me as I am right now in my life. And he just decided to come at me, you know, not in a nasty way, not criticism, but kind of critique. You know how sometimes you can just have a conversation with someone and it just hits you really hard? So it was like he held a mirror up to me and said, this is who you are right now in your life. This is what's wrong, or this is what can be improved. And it was a hard conversation, but very powerful. And specifically, what he said to me was that by referring back to my multiple sclerosis, even in this new stage of my healing journey where I'm talking about it in a positive sense, I have overcome this. I used to be in a wheelchair. I used to be really sick. Now I'm better. Like, he's like, even talking about that is reducing your identity to that illness, which has finished, it's over. So why are you still talking about it? And it was so hard to hear because, you know, I actually don't talk about it that much in real life. I said to him, you know, when am I talking about it? That's the beauty of getting my health back. I don't think about having MS. It's not something that's part of my everyday life in a constant way. So when am I talking about it? What do you mean? And he specifically said, it's your YouTube channel. When you talk about, oh, I can't do this now because I've got to go and make a video, or when he asked to watch a video, and we watched the one that I put up recently that was basically a recap of my whole story. I'll link it above. That video, which was a recap of like the hardest years that I have overcome, that he watched that video, and it wasn't that he didn't take it on board. It wasn't that he wasn't impressed and didn't realize that this was a big deal, but he was like, you repeating this story means that it's continually present in your psyche, in your identity, and there is more to you than overcoming multiple sclerosis. So maybe your YouTube channel isn't helping you. Maybe you should just be living your life and leaving it behind completely. And he's like, why don't you talk about other stuff about your life on your YouTube channel? And I said, oh, well, like, you know, I would love to, but the algorithm forces you to be in a niche, and also just the nature of doing regular videos. It's not like writing a book where you just lay it all out and then move the story on. You're not forced to do anything, but it's better to repeat stuff because you've constantly got new viewers who haven't heard your stories. It's the nature of doing regular YouTube videos means that you do often end up repeating yourself and also staying narrowly within one topic. That is the nature of this platform. So I totally get what he's saying, and I'm like, I didn't see it like that. I thought I was helping people. And he's like, yeah, but are you really? Because it's going against medical advice. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's a different conversation. You know, I'm always very careful about the way I present my experience. It's not prescriptive. I always say I'm not a qualified doctor. And so I was sort of trying to defend myself, but ultimately I did understand what he was saying. And so it's given me cause to reflect on the fact that I put up weekly YouTube videos which refer back to my MS. And at this point in time, I'm not living with MS. I am living free of MS. So why do I keep banging on about it? And I could hug this guy. Like, it was so hard to hear. I was on the verge of tears, and like there was this whole physiological reaction, and I was sort of holding myself back from reacting and sort of forcing myself to hear what he was saying, because he was saying it in a kind way, not in a critical way. You know, I thanked him in the moment. You know, thank you for doing that painful job of holding up a mirror to me and showing me where I am in my life and showing me where to go next. And maybe where I'm going next is a place where I don't put up weekly videos where I say, my name's Rebecca, I'm 45 years old, and I used to suffer from multiple sclerosis, but now I don't have to be identifying as that person. I can just be Rebecca in the world, living my life, thinking about the future. And that future will be homesteading and carnivore, right? This has got nothing to do with the diet. This has got everything to do with the stage I've reached in my healing journey. And basically the point is, I'm at a place in my life where I could not feel more gratitude. I feel loved. I feel supported. I feel an abundance of nature and social connections and love connections that feel so wonderful. Like, I'm so grateful, and it's been a hard journey, and those of you who have followed me for a while will know that that has not been an easy journey, and to be in this place now is just precious. It's precious, and I want that for other people who are struggling or who have struggled with a chronic illness, because, you know, this guy giving me this critique, he doesn't know what a chronic illness is like. I hope that my videos have been helping people to find a sense of hope and to feel less lonely in their struggle. But my videos are still up on the internet, so do I have to continue putting up weekly videos? That's my question. And actually, I am so busy at the moment, thank goodness. I'm so busy building a new homestead. I don't know if I have got time to do weekly YouTube videos. And I also agree with him that, with this guy, that maybe it's not helping me to live within this identity as a healed MS sufferer. Why not just be me and forget about MS and close that chapter? So maybe that's living in denial. I mean, the other thing is, you know, I'm not allowed to get rid of my diagnosis. I do still have to have neurologist appointments and MRI scans. You know, it's not something you can just decide to not have anymore. But in as much as I can live not under the shadow of MS, it can only help me to embrace that ill non-disabled identity, because then my mindset's better and that increases my chances of being stronger and more resilient, you know, if the MS does ever come back. But anyway, the point is, I think that I might take a hiatus from the channel and maybe I'll come back. I do have a neurologist appointment next week, so I thought maybe I'll do one more video next week and then take a hiatus so that I can concentrate on building my homestead. And I don't want to delete my channel. I don't want to get rid of my channel. I've loved having a YouTube channel and being part of this community. It's been absolutely wonderful, and like, I enjoy making videos. I enjoy talking. I'm a big talker. Anyone who knows me knows that I can talk for England. But I think that I'm going to probably take a step back over the coming months and maybe come back again, but with a view to my channel being more about homesteading. And that might mean that I lose subscribers. That might mean that, you know, it's a completely different entity. But that is what I would like to do. I would like to stop referring so much to the fact that I used to suffer from MS and start living my life. And if I'm going to show that life on YouTube, focus on learning to be a homesteader, raising my own animals, being carnivore, and being healthy and being in the world and being part of a community. And it's like I say, it's a really blessed time at the moment. There are many, many wonderful things happening, and I'm grateful to the universe, to God, for bringing this abundance of blessings into my life. And I want to transmit that to you guys. I want you guys to have the same incredible, miraculous blessings that I have lived in recent times and hope to live in the future. So anyway, I don't really know what to say other than it's been a very impactful couple of weeks. Nothing to do with the fact that I was vegetarian for a week, and everything to do with meeting this guy who did me a huge favor and gave me a lot to think about, and has kind of reset my healing journey, I think, for the better. But anyway, I will end this video here, and I will probably see you guys next week, because I think, you know, I want to give like an update on what my neurologist is saying at this point in time about the diet. I think that's valuable. But then maybe I will wind down for a couple of months and focus on my daily life here in Spain, building a homestead, and hopefully come back a few months down the line when I've got things set up and I can start sharing that exciting stage of life that I'm moving into. Okay, so hope you guys understand, and I look forward to hearing what you think about this. So take care wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next week. Bye.